on this particular topic of Second Amendment rights in Washington, D.C., I don't know, maybe it's because I believe that there are an inordinate amount of criminals in Congress, in government, and this is where they all happen to work. So maybe there's something to it. That's the only way that I would be able to make an argument for it, Glenn.
Well, there is an argument, that the nation's capital is the place that ought to be disarmed and at the mercy of the rest of us. But in fact, of course, most of the people who live in Washington, D.C. are not sleazy politicians. Right. They're just ordinary people with ordinary jobs trying to get by. And they, as I know, because I used to live there, they deal with a really high crime rate and a lot of problems. And they are left by design and by law pretty much defenseless. The Supreme Court struck down the old D.C. gun control law, but they're fighting a long rear guard action trying to they're actually this is a fair comparison. What they're doing in D.C. is very much like what the states of the old Confederacy did after the Civil War. They keep passing new laws, trying to make things as close to the way they were before as possible, and that's really what D.C. has done. Right. And I'm glad to see that somebody is going to hold their feet to the fire. Yeah, I mean, D.C., Washington, D.C., I mean, it shouldn't be, and I know the voting argument is a whole other issue, but in terms of the Second Amendment, you should be able to carry it, and it shouldn't matter that, yes, maybe it's the White House is in Washington, D.C. There are a lot of government agencies there, but there are a lot of people who work there, and as you were mentioning, the high crime rate, I mean, you and I together, we know a lot of individuals who still live and work there, and there's no reason why they should be at greater risk of attack simply because it's in Washington, D.C. They're not allowed to protect themselves than elsewhere, and their laws are so draconian. We've covered a number of stories where even if you possess like a spent shotgun shell, you can get in trouble. In Washington, D.C., they're so draconian. I think they're even tougher than New Jersey. Yeah, I actually have a solution for this, and it goes beyond Washington, D.C. and includes New Jersey and other places. I want a federal civil rights law on firearms, and what I want that law to say is that for anyone who is legally entitled to possess a firearm under federal law, the maximum penalty a state can assess is something on the order of a $50 fine. So we treat gun violations that don't rise to the level of federal law as basically like a speeding ticket. I might be willing to go as high as $75. Who knows? I like that.
I'd stick with the 50. No, but I like that. I think that's a good idea. So what would this bill, Marco Rubio, and he's also working with Jim Jordan of Ohio, what would this bill, what all would it actually seek to kind of deconstruct with the gun ban, basically, in Washington, D.C.?
Well, it basically is an effort, and I think it's still something of a work in progress, but it's an effort to roll back D.C.'s gun control laws and make it possible for people to own and carry guns in the same kind of normal fashion that they do in most of the country, New Jersey notwithstanding. And I think it's a terrific idea. I very much hope that it passes. And I have to say, from the standpoint of the Republicans, even if Obama's going to veto it, as he might, I see no harm politically in sending a whole bunch of gun rights bills to the White House for Obama to veto between now and 2016. The Democrats know the gun issue is poison for them, and that either means that Obama won't veto them, which would be great, or that he will, which would also do some good.